Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a look at the Inteleon VMAX League Battle Deck. We've known this is coming for some time. We just haven't known the deck list. Well, the good news is, thanks to Joe Masterson over on Facebook, we now do know the deck list. And we expected this to be good because the League Battle decks we've had in the past were really good. And ladies and gentlemen, we are not disappointed. This is really good. One thing we do need to point out right at the beginning, it is not the new Inteleon that's just come out in a VMAX deck over in Japan. It is the old Inteleon we've had for a little while now. That is fairly important to point out. So, what have we got? Well, we do have Inteleon VMAX. We actually have a 2-2 line of it. That is 2 of the Inteleon and 2 of the Inteleon VMAX. And this isn't quite to the level of things like, if we look at the Zacian ADP deck, Zacian ADP was like the top deck. Inteleon is not on that same level, but it's still a very cool deck. And it's still absolutely worthy of being played. It's topped a bunch of tournaments and does seem, at least initially, to be doing better in the new battle styles on format. So, Inteleon V is fine. 40 damage to any Pokemon for 1 energy, or 130 for free energy, and look at your opponent's hand. But it's really about the VMAX. For 1 energy, you do 60 damage, and you can put an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon into their hand. So, bit of energy denial and a single energy attack. Or for free energy, you do 160 to your opponent's active, while also doing 60 to one of your opponent's bench, and that is going to spread a decent amount of damage around really rather quickly. It is absolutely the star of the deck. And this is where we start getting a little bit excited about the whole, just being a League Battle deck, because there's a 3-2 line of Frostmoth. And if you ask what the partner for Inteleon is in competitive tournament decks, it is Frostmoth. Now, the attack no one cares about, but the ability Ice Dance lets you attach as much water energy from your hand during your turn as you like. And if you're playing an Inteleon VMAX deck, you are going to be playing it with Frostmoth, so the fact that we get a 3-2 line here really is awesome. One thing that is very interesting here, I believe, and if I'm wrong about this, please correct me in the comment section, but I believe that this non-holo Frostmoth is actually exclusive to this particular deck. I don't believe we've had a non-holo Frostmoth before. Now, Japan actually has had a non-holo Frostmoth. It was in a Rapid Strike Premium Trainer Box. I don't think we've had it, so this is a little bit exclusive, and I find this absolutely wonderful. We've then got a 3-2-2 line of Inteleon, and it is going to be the good Inteleon. There is another Inteleon, it's not going to be that one. Remember, these League Battle decks, the entire point of them is that they are supposed to be good tournament quality decks. They are supposed to really help you. And the good Inteleon's got the ability Shady Dealings, that when you evolve into it, you get to search your deck for any 2 trainer cards and put them into your hand. This is absolutely brilliant. It is a great card, and it's seen play in a whole bunch of decks. And because we've got the whole line going on here, we've also got a couple copies of Drizzile. And Drizzile is cool. Drizzile lets you search your deck for 1 trainer card when you evolve up into it. So you evolve into Drizzile, search a trainer, then next turn you evolve into Inteleon and search 2 trainers. That is absolutely brilliant. This is a really cool evolution line. Inteleon was a holo in Sword and Shield, but we have actually had a non-holo version of Inteleon that was included in one of the build and battle boxes, those pre-release boxes, which is kind of interesting. We've then got 2 copies of Galarian Zigzagoon, and Galarian Zigzagoon is amazing. It's got the ability Headbutt Tantrum that when you play it from your hand to your bench, lets you drop 1 damage counter onto one of your opponent's Pokemon. It is a card that sees a huge amount of play in a huge amount of decks. It is exactly the kind of card we want to be seeing in these kind of decks. And what I'm looking for in these League Battle decks is largely what we get. I want a good deck that you can play out of the box and actually hang with competitive decks. But I also want things like Galarian Zigzagoon that will work in this deck, and it absolutely will, but will also work in a whole bunch of other decks, which it absolutely will. It is a great card. And then finally, we've got 1 copy of the Suicune that came around in Darkness Ablaze. Again, this was a holo in the set. I believe this is going to be, again, an exclusive non-holo. So we are expecting to get non-holos of this and Frostmoth, which are exclusive. Although, like I say, Japan has had Frostmoth. And Inteleon, which isn't exclusive, but was only previously in a build and battle box. So, come on. Near enough, gosh darn it. So this is kind of cool. As for Suicune, it's free energy 130, and you put 2 energy from this Pokemon into your hand, which is really cool. 130 is a key number to hit a lot of single prize Pokemon, but you put the energy into your hand, which means that if Suicune gets KO'd and it is a nice single prize Pokemon, you don't lose much energy, you only lose the 1, but also we're playing Frostmoth in this deck, which means you can just reattach that energy straight away. This is cool. I mean, essentially, you've got your Inteleon VMAX, and then you've got Frostmoth to accelerate energy, Inteleon to search out your trainer cards, and I should mention, Inteleon's got a decent little attack that for 2 energy does 120 to the active and 20 to one of your opponent's bench. And then we've got Galarian Zigzagoon to drop extra damage, bearing in mind that both Inteleon VMAX and Inteleon do hit damage to the bench, as can Inteleon V, incidentally. And then we've got Suicune as a nice single prize attacker. This is a good deck. And fine, there are fewer different types of Pokemon than we might see in some theme decks, etc. But I love that, again, it is a proper deck that is built to actually work and give you a tournament quality deck. And when I say tournament quality deck, I don't mean you're going to be able to rock up to regional championships having made no changes and go and win every game. But I'm saying that if you make a few changes here and there, you will have a legitimate tournament winning quality deck, which is really cool. Moving over into the trainer line here, we've got ourselves 3 copies of Air Balloon. Air Balloon reduces your retreat cost by 2. It is a tool card that is used in the majority of decks, honestly, at the moment. It is a great retreating tool that sees a huge amount of play. And along those lines, we've also got a couple copies of Birdkeeper, which is a switch that draws you 3 cards. Which is, again, brilliant. Really, really nice. These are cards that see a whole bunch of play. There are 3 copies of Boss's Orders, and Boss's Orders is in like every deck. It lets you switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active, and you get to pick which bench comes active. Everybody plays it, so you can just pick Pokemon off the bench to bring active and KO. I mean, here you can strand something in the active while you snipe the bench with Inteleon, or you can just bring something active and take a double KO if the active has got less than 60 HP remaining, so you can KO it on the bench of Inteleon VMAX's attack. It really is very cool. We've got 2 copies of Capacious Bucket. That lets you search for 2 water energy and put them into your hand. And again, this is a really cool card. You probably wouldn't play it outside of a Frostmoth deck, but this is a Frostmoth deck. So you absolutely would play it here, and in these water decks, it really is cool. We got 2 copies of Evolution Incense, an item card that lets you search your deck for an evolved Pokemon, which again sees a whole bunch of play in a whole bunch of decks. And Great Ball, which lets you look at the top 7 cards of your deck, find a Pokemon and put it into your hand. Again, this is a card that just sees play in a whole bunch of decks. And while we're here, we also have a full 4 copies of Quick Ball. Discard a card from your hand, search a basic Pokemon. So when you're talking about 4 copies of Quick Ball, 4 copies of Great Ball, 2 copies of Evolution Incense, that is the kind of Pokemon search line you will see in like every deck. We've then got 4 copies of Professor's Research. That is, discard your hand, draw 7 cards. It is a staple supporter in basically every deck. And 3 copies of Marnie, whereby both players shuffle a hand and put them on the bottom of your deck. Whoever played Marnie gets 5 cards, the other player gets 4. Again, this is played in like every deck. So we're in this deck basically having the standard Pokemon search, but we're also having the standard supporter line. We got 4 Professor's Research, 3 Marnie, 3 Boss's Orders, and okay, a lot of decks will probably want to play a 4th Marnie, but outside of that, that is the Pokemon search / supporter line that will work in so many decks. We've then got 1 copy of Ordinary Rod, which will recover your Pokemon and basic energy. Again, we see that as a one-of in a huge amount of decks. And 2 copies of Scoop Up Net, which sees a huge amount of play, and in this deck you've got Galarian Zigzagoon and Inteleon that have when you play or evolve abilities. So being able to pick them up with Scoop Up Net lets you reuse those abilities, which is obviously a great thing. And then we got 1 copy of Training Court, and I'll be honest with you, Training Court does not see anywhere near as much play here. It is not a staple in every deck. Lets you put a basic energy from your discard pile into your hand once during your turn. But then again, if you're playing a deck with Frostmoth, where you're going to be attaching a whole bunch of energy, this is exactly the kind of stadium card that you are going to want to play. And then, of course, 10 water energy. Once again, we expected a good tournament quality deck here, and that is exactly what we get. Yeah, fine, it is very much an Inteleon Frostmoth deck, but the Inteleon line, Galarian Zigzagoon, Frostmoth, these will all fit into other decks. And then, of course, you've got a really strong trainer line, to the point where if you're new to the game, you can buy this League Battle deck, and you will only need to go and buy a few singles in terms of trainers for the vast majority of decks that you want to play. It is that gosh darn good. And okay, like I said at the beginning, no, I don't think Inteleon VMAX as a deck is up there with other archetypes that have had League Battle decks, but it is a legit top tier deck. Maybe not tier 1, but tier 2. Maybe tier 1, to be fair. It still remains to be seen a little bit. And also, even if you don't really want to play Inteleon, you have got a super strong trainer line going through here, and I, for one, am delighted. But I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts, be nice, are you going to pick it up? I really would like to know. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.